For those struggling to retire, let's talk about the true cost of living in Canada. Here's the part no one tells you until it's too late. Most Canadians are retiring with far less money than they need, and they don't realize it until they're already there. I talk to people all the time who've saved, planned the best they could, and then suddenly retirement's here. And the math doesn't work because retirement isn't a magic number. It's about real costs and the ones that actually show up in your bank account. So today we're going to talk about exactly how much Canadians really spend in retirement, how much income you need, and what to do if you're not as prepared as you hoped. Hey, I'm Peter Fabry. For 25 years, I've been helping Canadians find mortgage solutions that fit their needs, especially those 55 plus, to plan a retirement that's actually livable, not perfect, but livable. So one big question I get asked over and over again is, how much do I actually need to retire? Well, most people guess like $1 million or $2 million. Some are just too terrified to even guess a number because it's irrelevant if you've already retired and the number's zero, right? But retirement isn't a one-size-fits-all situation. There's no universal number because everybody's retirement has different costs. Today we're going to walk through real spending numbers, the actual costs Canadians are facing, and give you a clear, honest way to figure out your retirement number. So section number 1, your real spending, the foundation. Let's talk about the number nobody gets right, spending. Not the number you wish you spend, right? Not what an online calculator guesses you're going to spend, but what statistically Canadians actually spend in retirement. Recent Canadian spending data: households age 65 and over spend about $5,000 a month, or $60,000 a year on average. And here's why that number surprises people. Most retirees think retirement becomes cheaper, but the truth is some costs go down, most go up. Here's the reality for a typical Canadian 55 plus household with a small mortgage or none at all. Like, really think about these. I'm going to say them slowly on purpose so we can reflect on these more deeply. Property tax, insurance, utilities, groceries, home repairs, medical and dental, travel, family support, strata or condo fees, fuel and transit costs. Even if you live simply, most Canadians fall into this realistic range: $4,500 to $6,000 a month. That's $54,000 to $72,000 a year just to get by. And if you're budgeting only $3,000 a month, you're almost certainly underestimating your real costs. So let's talk about taxes, the silent budget killer. Here's the part that catches most people off guard. Taxes. CPP is taxable. OAS is taxable. RRSP withdrawals, fully taxable. Everything above is fully taxable. RIF withdrawals, mandatory and fully taxable. And taxes matter more in retirement because your income sources interact with each other. Now, if you withdraw too much from a RIF, you can accidentally trigger an OAS clawback, which starts around $93,000 of net income. And that sounds like a big number. But I've seen retirees lose thousands and thousands per month in OAS without realizing they triggered it. So when people ask how much they need to retire, the real question is, how much do I need after tax? That's the number that counts, right? It's always been the number. The real income targets are numbers that reflect a realistic Canadian retirement. There are 3 tiers Canadians fall into: basic retirement, or frugal, which is somewhere around $35,000 to $45,000 a year. And that's if you rent or if you've got a very small home, no major travel, very tight medical budget or dental budget. Second tier, comfortable retirement, which is the most common, believe it or not, $55,000 to $75,000 a year. In this group, people typically own a home, utilities are manageable, occasional travel is manageable, and there's a little bit of an emergency buffer. And then there's a flexible retirement for travel and comfort. This is for the people that fall into $80,000 to $110,000 a year. They can afford to travel. They can afford to upgrade their home and to support family or have a strong medical budget. But here's the key. These are income numbers, not savings numbers. You don't need $1 million saved. You need reliable income from multiple sources. So if you understand your income target, everything becomes a little easier. So let's talk about CPP, OAS, and the retirement gap. CPP and OAS are fantastic, but they're not enough on their own. We all know this. In 2025, the average CPP is about $850 a month, OAS about $725 to $800 a month, depending on your age. So that's about $1,600 or $1,700 a month combined. That certainly doesn't even come close to the numbers we were just talking about. Even at the low end of retirement, spending $4,500 a month, you're short $2,500 a month. So that's the gap that most Canadians don't plan for. The question is, how much do you need saved to fill in that gap? Where's the income going to come from? And that's where your retirement strategy really becomes everything. So now here's the thing people always forget. You've got home equity. It's now the biggest source of equity in your retirement, much bigger than it was in previous generations. So for most Canadians 55 and older, your home is your biggest financial resource. That's the misconception. People think the only way to use your home is to sell it. Well, that's not true. Your home can generate income lots of ways. You can rent out part of your home. You can refinance, you can get a HELOC, you can get a reverse mortgage. There's lots of options that don't require monthly payments or that can generate payments. You can use your equity to reduce withdrawals, avoid triggering OAS, cover unexpected costs, improve your cash flow, delay your CPP so you get more later. A lot of Canadians feel house rich and cash poor because they're just thinking of their home as something that you're supposed to pay off and never touch. But it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, that's not really even the smartest way to approach it. With the right approach, your home can support your retirement without giving it up. So let's talk about a real Canadian story. I worked with a woman, let's call her Teresa, who saved about $380,000 for retirement. She thought she was pretty prepared. But when she retired, she realized she needed close to $5,000 a month to live the way she actually wanted to. CPP and OAS covered about $1,700. Her investments gave her another $1,300. She's still short $2,000 every month. And that gap draining her savings too fast, meaning that the amount that she's getting out of her investments started to drop. So we looked at her home. We used a small amount of equity, no monthly payments that covered her shortfall, protected her OAS, reduced her taxes, because pulling money out of your house is non-taxable. It preserved her investments. So she was keeping the maximum cash flow from her investments rather than drain them. She got peace of mind. She didn't need more savings. She just needed a better strategy. So what you actually need, here's the truth. You don't actually need to compare yourself to anyone. You don't need $1 million. You don't need perfection. You need a realistic spending number, a stable income number, a tax efficient strategy, a home equity plan if you need it, and clarity. Once you understand these 5 things, retirement becomes a little more manageable or even peaceful. The next thing you have to understand is if you are going to be using a reverse mortgage strategy is to understand that there's more than one lender out there. And if you call them directly, they're only going to be able to sell you their own products. They're only going to want to be able to sell you their own products. They're not going to tell you that there's a better product available at some other lender, maybe with a better rate or maybe with more flexible options or maybe a different product or maybe lower fees. They're not going to tell you that. Their job is to sell you one of their products. What you need is someone who's independent, who works for you, that's been around the track and knows what they're doing. If you're 55 and older and you want help figuring out what you need and where to get it based on your costs, your benefits, your taxes, your home, then give me a call. I offer free retirement strategy calls. We can break it all down. No pressure, no obligation, just a little bit of clarity. Visit rewindmortgage.ca or click the link below. And remember, retirement isn't about guessing, it's about planning. And the right plan can make even an average retirement savings feel powerful. My name's Peter Fabry, and thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video.